I'm going to take this time to introduce all of our speakers so that you know who is going, and then I'm just coming up there in case I don't have time to go in between them all. Myself is Danielle Clay. I am a real estate agent with eXp Realty. I service most of the Disney area, all of Kissimmee, St.Claire, and Davenport. Here with me are my other girls. This is Paula Palomino. She services all of Altamont Springs and Apopka.
Seminole County and Orange County.
Next to her is Tony. I'll let you introduce yourself, Tony.
Hi guys, my name is Tony Jean Simon. I'm a realtor with eXp, and I service Seminole County and Orange County.
Back there behind the lens is Lisa Garrett. This is our credit specialist slash real estate agent as well. Go ahead, Lisa. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I service Orlando, Davenport area, Polk County, and I specialize in credit repair.
Yes, up front speaking, we're also going to have Lisa as well. This is our title company. Go ahead, Lisa.
Good morning, Lisa Siemens, licensed title agent and owner of Central Florida Title Center out in Winter Springs, servicing every area in Florida.
After speaking, title is going to be Warren, our inspector. Go ahead,
Warren. Billings and Company Home Inspections. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And then Armando Torres walking in the door. This is our powerhouse agent. No, he's with Primerica. This is our insurance guy going to be speaking today. Go ahead and tell us about yourself, Armando. Just a really quick interview.
Hey guys, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
All right, so I'm excited. First time home buyers in the room. You guys, first time home buyers are looking to buy? That's awesome. So I'm actually from Miami. Cuban parents. My family got into real estate when I was born. So I was born into a real estate family, and my excitement is to see people accomplish the American dream, right? Because we come from a country that everything was taken away from my family, right? And here, you're actually in a position that you can actually buy a house and see that equity grow and give something to your family, which is awesome. So I'm excited. I'll be talking to you guys about wealth building today. Anybody interested in wealth building? Yeah, maybe. Okay.
To me, as a mortgage lender, this is a small commitment from you guys that you're committed to your own goals. So I applaud you and thank you so much for having an opportunity to come on out here. Today I want to share with you a couple different ideas between wealth and actually getting yourself in out of debt. So let's start here. How many of you guys want to learn how to be wealthy? Raise your left hand. And how many of you are here to learn about bank programs or mortgage programs that help you get into a home? Raise your right hand. Now, how many of you want to learn both? Raise both hands. Congrats, we all just did the wave. But all jokes aside, guys, renting, there are a couple differences between renting and owning. And I want to keep things completely 100% with you guys that owning is not for everybody, truth be told. Owning requires a lifestyle. This is the best choice of putting it as far as words, right? You have to save money in order to get into home ownership. There are programs that assist with getting into the home, but I'm going to cover some of that as to why that may not be always the best opportunity for you. So, as far as wealth goes, understand my position as a mortgage lender, I'm putting you into debt. That's what a mortgage is. So at the end of the day, I have a lot of pressure on my back, but I need you guys to understand how to get out of that debt, right? So let me ask you guys a quick question. If you made $60,000 a year, do you think it's possible that you could save 177 grand inside of 9 years? No. Great. Anybody else? It's open floor. Anybody else?
I've been alive a lot longer than 9 years and I don't have 177 grand.
Okay, great.
Just saying.
Well, that's the truth. When it comes to becoming a homeowner in today's market, now this is specific to Orlando's market. So if you're purchasing in other areas, it may be a little bit different, but here in the Orlando market, average median home prices are up around 250 grand. Now when you purchase a home, there's going to be down payments, there's going to be closing costs, things that's involved in that. Now remember, your down payment that you're putting into the home, that's your investment. That is real equity. That's something that you can tap into at a later date, later time. But here's the point to that, where a lot of people don't fully understand this yet when compared to renting. When you own a home, your home appreciates in value. Anytime I bring that up, most people are like, oh, but what about having 2007 and 2008 when the market crashed, when we had that bubble? Well, the truth of the matter is actually home prices started increasing during that recession. A lot of people don't know that. So my point being said is this, when it comes to appreciation of home value, that's where like 64% of most Americans' wealth comes from, the equity inside of your home. This is a real number, 177 grand over 9 years. You put a 3% down payment on a $250,000 home, your home will appreciate, including with your down payment, 177 grand you have in the bank. This is a forced savings type of program, right? You guys with me? Okay, great. Let's go to the next one. Now, here in Orlando, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the average rent, you guys think, guess how much the average rent is? $1,500. How much do you get for $1,500? Like 2 bedrooms, how much square footage do you get? Maybe 900, maybe 1,100. That's insane, wouldn't you think? So actually, I did a little bit of research. Average rent for like a family wanting a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, they're looking at roughly around 1,500 square feet, maybe 1,700 square feet. They're going to be spending roughly around $1,750 a month, $1,750 per month. That same exact mortgage payment, that same exact renting payment you can make on a housing payment, but this payment here, for a housing payment, this is purely paying your landlord's mortgage, if they have a mortgage, right? Now, what's involved inside of a mortgage payment? Do any of you guys know that? Principal and interest, right? So principal is obviously paying down your balance, getting you out of debt, and interest is what you owe the bank. But where a lot of renters that I come across don't know this is that interest on your home, your primary residence, it's a tax deduction, guys. So if you're paying 22% as a married couple for your marginal tax bracket, and you have a home, and you now have a primary residence, you have the opportunity to reduce your marginal tax bracket from 22% to 15%. Layman's terms, you get more money back at the end of the year. Sound like a good plan?
Yes.
All right, great. So I need to actually log in to, I want to give you guys a live breakdown. Is that cool with you guys? That we can kind of see where the numbers are at. I want to be able to have the opportunity to answer any questions you guys have as we go along through this. I'm going to step some of them out and maybe use some of your guys' exact scenarios. Is that good? Mortgage nerd talk. You guys ready?
It's like Spanish.
So look, I always give people a lot of joke when I talk about mortgages, but here's the thing. I don't speak Japanese, I don't speak French, but 2 + 2 will always equal 4 no matter where I am in the world. Point being, numbers don't lie, right? So it's important that I operate purely off of the numbers. It's very logical. My position, remember, it's putting you into debt. So I need to be that person where you're looking at a house going, oh my God, I really love that house. I want to do a down payment assistance program, but I also have $10,000 saved. Let me keep that money and use a down payment assistance program. That's where I kind of step in going, hey, I'm the logic. That's probably not going to make sense for you in 2 to 3 years, depending on your goals, okay? So let's get into some of these numbers that we were talking about. I mentioned before in our previous slide, rents were going for roughly around $1,750 per month, roughly for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and you're looking at 1,700 square feet inside of those ranges. It actually kind of breaks it down for you how much you're paying per square foot, so you can kind of get an idea. Maybe if you have an idea of your own place, how much square footage you have an idea as far as how much you're paying per square footage. All these breakdowns are based on markets. So if you're in Orange County, Osceola County, Seminole County, it's going to start varying. This is obviously inside of Orange County, as you can see here. Rents increase. How many of you guys have had your rent increase in the last 12 months? Okay. This is kind of where I'm getting at, right? So average in Orange County is 3.7%. The national average is 5%. Rents increase by a national average 5%. Okay. So scroll to this side, please. There we go. As far as the property ideas that we're looking at, Orlando area, right? I'm looking for a house that's roughly 1,600 square feet inside that same range of me comparing to renting, 1,700 versus 1,600. Houses that are roughly around $255,000, and I'm going to show you what kind of houses you can get in those price ranges. Homeowners insurance. Every single home is going to have insurance, so it's roughly around $100, depending on the home and the age of the home. Property taxes. Property taxes can increase. I'm going to give you guys some tidbits on how to protect yourself in the event that they do increase, but there's no way around it, right? And then you have an HOA. If you decide to live in a community that has an HOA, this is going to be a variable, right? This is not part of your mortgage payment, but when you do speak to a lender, you do speak to an underwriter, they're going to qualify you off of all these components. It's called PITI. Principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Those are all the components that a lender, a financial institution is going to qualify you on. So if you're looking at a house and it's great, it fits all the components that you'd like for on the emotional aspect of wanting to buy it, you run all the numbers and you find out you have an HOA, and you just so happen to be right on the cusp of approval from what's called a debt ratio. If that HOA wasn't disclosed up front during your pre-approval process, you're gonna waste your time. And it's gonna be heartbreaking. Okay, in my 14 years that I've been writing mortgages, in my rookie years, I've seen people literally come to tears because there was a $23 HOA. You know, like, that's outside of my budget. There's workarounds, you're gonna have to probably pay something off, but my point being to that is this, guys. When you're looking at a housing payment, they're gonna qualify you off of all the total property obligations. If you don't pay your HOA, they can put a lien against your property. That's the biggest component for any lender. They want to make sure that nothing can attach to that home. So if you have an old charge-off for an automobile, maybe it was never repossessed and it's still showing that it's a charge-off, that's going to be an issue for financing. Okay? So know that if you have anything that can threaten to be a lien against your property, it's going to be a big no-no. Lisa's going to touch on a couple things that are credit related, but me as a lender, I need you guys to know in advance how it can slow you down as far as home ownership goes. Now, when we're running some of these numbers here, can you scroll up a little bit for me, please? You can see here, right? Your first year that you buy a house versus compared to renting, yes, your housing payment might be a little bit higher. Yes, that is true. $1,792, $1,775. But this is what I was touching on earlier. Out of this $1,792, can you scroll down, scroll up, the other way? Down, down a little bit more, please. Down a little more.
That's it?
Go.
That's all she wrote.
Getting dizzy.
Go to the left and hit loan. I wish this was touch screen.
That would be dope.
All right, go up. So it's not going to give me my breakdown inside here. That's fine. And you can do remedial math. Really, in all honesty, you can take $255,000. I believe the interest rate that I was using. Scroll up. Keep going. Stop. 3.875. This is how you calculate your interest-only payment, right? This is important because every single penny of that is a tax deduction for you. So out of this payment, go back down again. Where'd it go? Oh, there we go. This payment of $1,792, $600 of that is going to be a deduction for you. So in reality, you're only really paying $1,100 a month. Most people don't get that. They see a mortgage payment and they compare it to where they're renting. And remember where I started, owning a home is a lifestyle, right? So if you've been renting for so long, you don't buy houses every day. So it's no fault to you of how to break that mindset. These numbers is the purpose of showing you how to break that mindset, right? Showing you what's available in the market, in today's market, what you can be doing, where you can be saving money. So this is your first year. Okay, I see that I'm going to be paying a little bit more. But what happens if I stay in the current place that I'm at now for 9 years? My rent, based on average, is going to be roughly around $2,300 by my 9th year. If I own a home, my payment's still $1,792 by the 9th year. Because a mortgage doesn't adjust. At least a 30-year fix doesn't, or 15 or 20 or 25. This is all based off of a fixed mortgage. So you have full control over your housing payment, your wealth development, and ultimately your debt load, right? Because if you're paying rent and your landlord says, hey, congrats, we're going to do another lease for another year, but I'm going to have to raise you by $250, what are your options? I got to leave this place and go find another place and put first and last down, and maybe even a security deposit. How many people have dogs? Pets. Sorry, pets.
$500 non-refundable deposit.
Yeah, for something like that. Or I used to have a skipper key, right? It's a little tiny 14-pound dog. And then when I was renting, they wanted to charge me for this little tiny 14-pound dog, like a $750 deposit. I'm like, he's this big and he's sticking in my pocket. Like, what's he gonna do? But that's kind of where I'm getting at, right? Now you can see the difference, the cash flow difference between if you were to rent in your first year versus owning in your first year. You're gonna see a cash flow difference of $26,000. That's how much you just basically would be throwing away in comparison to owning your home. Scroll up a little bit, please. Ooh, stop, go down. Yep, there we go. I love this thing. Appreciation. So appreciation, when you buy something, goods, like an automobile, it's going to appreciate. Automobiles depreciate. Homes do appreciate in value. So if you have areas where there's new construction, new schools, new developments, you're gonna notice that these home values are gonna start to increase. Now, one thing I need you guys to understand and know this, if you're buying the biggest house on the block, the nicest house on the block, don't do it. Here's the reason why for that. I have a client right now, purchased a new construction home 2 years ago. He put roughly around $80,000 worth of upgrades inside the house, went to go appraise it, and it appraised for more. You would think it appraised for $600,000, but it only appraised for $560,000. The reason why is because he had the nicest house on the block. There's nothing to compare it to. So based on that information, he has to go off of where the market is today. Now, the appreciation that he has, this is real money. You can tap into this. You can pull it out. You want to go on a nice vacation? You don't recommend doing that, but if you do, you can. That's a really nice vacation. If you had children that are going off to college, how many of you are parents? How many of your little ones want to go to college? You want your little ones to go to college? That being said, this can be a good way for you to help you to save for your children. At least for my children, that's at least what I'm doing with the equity of my home. Once I get to a certain number, extract it, put it inside a bank, and I'm good. Now, when I take this money out, most people are under the impression like, oh my God, my mortgage payment is going to increase, or oh my God, my housing situation is going to change altogether. And the truth of the matter is, it's not. Remember, you're on a fixed mortgage. It's on here. But you're on a fixed mortgage, so your payment's never going to change. Amortization gain. So amortization is going to represent the years that are going by, right? So year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. Remember, we talk about principal and interest. So all that principal inside year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equals up to 46 grand inside 9 years. So how did I get to 177 grand? Well, that's easy. The appreciation is just based on the pure market where we're at. Homes are increasing in the Orlando market. This is not rent. This is housing market by 5%. National average is 3%. Orlando market, Florida market, has a higher increase like California than most markets.
Yeah.
So this is real money that you're sitting on. Am I going to No? Okay. So essentially there's 177 grand. Here's where I'm getting at, guys. This is where you're going to be finding your real money. Scroll down. Scroll up a little bit. No, down, sorry. There, that works. Cost association, this is kind of one of the biggest components. Remember I said that you're getting into a debt, right? This is where it makes sense. If you did a down payment assistance program, right? You guys ever heard of down payment assistance? No? Okay. So every county in Florida or most states have assistance programs that assist first-time home buyers getting into the home that they want. Every county is going to have a different number. So Osceola County, Orange County, and Seminole County all have different numbers. The state of Florida has its own program. So I'll hit you real fast. Orange County has a down payment assistance program up to $15,000 in assistance. You can use that $15,000 to be applied towards your down payment or pay for a certain portion of your closing costs or a portion of both, right? But that $15,000, guess where it happens to it? It stays on your home. You pay it back at some point, right? It only makes sense if you plan on not changing anything with your finances over the next 6-7 years. Now here I got a question for you guys. Have any of your guys' finances changed in the last 3 years?
Yeah.
Made more money, made less money? Yes? So you see where I'm getting at? It's gonna be very difficult for someone to say, I'm gonna remain the same from when I got into the home till 9 years from now. You may have children, you may get married, there may be a breakup, who knows? Anything can happen. So I, as a mortgage professional, would recommend someone using down payment assistance if they truly need it. If they know they have no way of paying off that second mortgage, because the down payment assistance program is a second mortgage attached to your house, if they have no capital, no means, or no way to pay it off, yeah, use that program. But if you have money saved, or you have an opportunity to save money and put it aside, I personally recommend using those funds because it doesn't eat up at the equity of your home. Just go back up for a second. Stop. If you're using a down payment assistance program, it would be 15 grand less than this. Let's just say we're using the Orange County, using that same, it'd be 15 grand less. And most people are like, oh, well, I still have 115 grand left. I'm like, yeah, but you could have had 130 if you would just invested your own money, right? And so that's where the whole strategy comes into play as far as time. If you're 1 to 2 months out from purchasing a home, you need to be speaking with a lender like now and a realtor like now. If you're like 3 to 6 months out, you need to have a plan, whether that be a credit plan, a money saving plan, or a budget plan. And if you're 6 to 9 months out, I still recommend getting a plan put in place. It's either income or credit related, but I can promise you this. Every single client that has taken at least my personal advice when it comes to credit or the debts that they need to fix or the money that they need to save, every single one of my clients have become a homeowner. Whether it was with me or somebody else, my point being is my job is here to change your life, and that's through home ownership. So if I can give you the right information to where you can go make that financial decision on your own, that being said, I think I covered everything rather quickly. You want to leave questions for that?
Yeah, let's do them for the end. So we can do that.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
All right. So I want you guys to raise your hand. Does anybody in here have an 800 credit score?
Go away.
All right.
But
Being
yeah,
honest.
Michael got me on.
Okay. Does anybody have maybe a 300 credit score?
Or wrong.
No judgment. No judgment. Does anybody have or has had a credit score in the range of 500 to 600? That's what I'm talking about. You're being honest. Okay, I love it. All right. So, what's the next one? So, when we talk about credit, we're talking about your character. So, Michael, he already kind of gave you synopsis of how your mortgage is going to be saving you some money if you stop renting, right? But when it comes to credit, credit is your character. So, you guys want to apply for a loan. You want to buy a home. They're going to want to know your character. They're going to see, are you going to be able to pay me this money back over the course of 15, 30 years? So it's very, very important. What they're looking at, are you paying your bills on time? Have you been late? Is there any repossessions? Do you have any charge-offs? Those things will keep you from being able to purchase a home. All right? What's your name?
I'm Nicole.
Nicole. Okay, Nicole, you just met me, right? I look nice, right? I'm presentable. All right? If I asked you right now to borrow $10,000, would you give it to me?
Yes. What? You
You wouldn't? Why not? Why would you give me $1,000? You don't know who I am, right? So you guys are one of these banks that give you $100, $200, $300, $400,000, and they don't know who you are, right? So they're going to check your credit report. They're going to know, can you pay me my money back? Now, if I've known you for 10, 20 years, would you feel more comfortable giving me that money?
Yes.
Absolutely. So they're looking at your character, guys. So you guys want to make sure, when you guys go to apply for your mortgage, that you've been handling your credit responsibly,
That makes sense.
right?
Nice.
All right, so my goal today is just to go over a few things. There's so much when it comes to credit, but I'm going to try to make this short because I can talk all day. Literally, so video's going to be on me. But I just want to go over the basics. Okay, so there's 3 main credit bureaus. So there's Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. There's actually way more than that, but we're going to focus on these 3, okay? So when it comes to a lender or a company, when they go to pull your credit, they're going to pull either from 1, 2, or 3 credit bureaus. So what I mean by that, let's say you want to purchase a Capital One credit card, right? They're going to probably look at your Equifax. All right, so they're just going to pull your Equifax report. However, once you get approved and you start making payments, it will show up in all 3 bureaus. Does that make sense? Okay, so we're being honest. Does anybody use Credit Karma? Raise your hand. Okay, so why do you use Credit Karma?
Just to keep track of things.
Okay, good. Okay, you use Credit Karma as well too? Okay, so if I was to ask you this, is Credit Karma, do you believe that's the same score you're going to use when you go to get a mortgage? Okay, why is that?
Well, because I have that one and Equifax, and they're always different.
Always different. Okay. So there's something called a Vantage score. Has anybody ever heard of a Vantage score? No? Okay. So there's a Vantage score and there's a FICO score. When you guys go to purchase a home or a car or a credit card, they're going to use your FICO score. Okay. So FICO is your Fair Isaac Corporation scoring model. A Vantage score is similar to what Credit Karma would be used. Okay. So typically Credit Karma, we'll get into that. It's free. I'm cheap. I love free. But Credit Karma is not accurate. I have people come to me, at least I got a 700 credit score. I went to go apply for this credit card. I got denied. Well, they got denied because their FICO score is like a 500. Okay? So you want to be careful for that. Credit Karma is good for those people who kind of know where they're at, kind of keep track of their finances, and they have a decent credit score. If you want your true credit score, you want to check your FICO score. So that's what he's going to check. When you go to apply for a loan, Michael's going to check your FICO score. Or if you guys want to check your FICO score every year, you can get it for free. If you go to www.annualcreditreport.com, you'll get your FICO score. That's going to be the most accurate form of the score you guys can get. Does that make sense?
www.annualcreditreport.com.
You got to be careful because there'll be some websites out there that will tell you it's free annual credit report. Those are not authorized. It has to say just annualcreditreport.com. You guys can check that. That's a great idea to check it now. If you guys are like, you've been working, you got your money right, you're ready to get your home approved, you want to check your credit score so you don't, be surprised when you check for, Make sense?
Right.
Okay, next one. All right, so what's a good credit score? Does anybody know what a good credit score is?
Michael's. About
800.
800.
Yeah, 850.
Oh, that's a great credit score. 850. What did you say? 750. Okay. So when it comes to FICO score, what the lender's going to be looking for is going to be a range from 300 to 850. Okay, so good news. You'll never be lower than 300.
Yay!
All right, so you'll never be higher than 850. Well, some people say, oh, I got a 900 credit score. Well, that's probably your Vantage score. So it's a different scoring model. There's a lot of different scoring models. So there's no set way I can explain this, but when it comes to FICO, these are the ranges. So they're considering a 670 a good score. Now here's the thing. A lot of people sitting right now, they don't know they can get approved for a house because they're afraid of their credit score. You do not need a 670 to get approved for a home. You can get approved for a home at 580. But here's the difference. A person with a 580 credit score versus a 670 credit score, that person's going to be paying more over the life of the loan. Does that make sense? Okay. So you're looking for a good score, you want to get a 670 or above. All right, so here's this question. What has the most negative impact on your credit score? Would you say A, low income, B, carrying a zero balance, or C, making late payments?
Raise your hand for A. Raise your hand if you think it's A. Okay, raise your hand if you think it's B. One person, raise your hand if you think it's C. Everybody else.
All right, you guys are good. You're right, making late payments. So now I'm going to go over these 5 things. So if you guys have a notebook, great, write it down. If not, you can get with me afterwards if you have any questions, because I'm going to go kind of quick just to save some time. But the next thing I'm going to go over are the 5 reasons that will stop most potential homeowners from purchasing their first home. This is huge, and this is going to kind of give you an idea of how your credit score is calculated. Does that make sense?
Right.
All right, go ahead and go next. Okay. All right, so first thing is going to be payment history. So all of you guys who raise your hand, you are correct. Payment history is huge. Huge. You've got to pay your bills on time. You cannot be late. One late payment can bring you down anywhere from 60 to 110 points. That is huge. And the better your score is, the more impact you're going to have. Okay? So you want to make sure you're paying your bills on time. And what I mean by that is, let's say my credit card is due on the 15th. If I paid on the 17th, no, that's not going to affect my score. But if it's due on January 15th and I'm paying March 15th, yes, that's going to hit my score, right? So any late payments, any charge-offs, that goes back to your character. That's what they're going to be looking for, okay? If something's charged off in your report, even if you paid off and you're a great person, you paid your debt, it's not going to increase your score. That character is still going to show that, guess what? Yeah, you paid it, but it charged off, right? So the only way to get that off your report is to contact somebody like myself to get it removed, or something you can do yourself, okay? So the next one is going to be your utilization. So this is the amount that you owe. Does anybody have, let me ask you this. Okay. So how much do you owe on each account, and what's your credit limit? Does anybody even have credit cards? Okay. All right. Armando, you have a credit card?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you understand what utilization is?
No.
Okay. All right. What about you, Danielle?
I mean, yeah, like if it's maxed out or how much my balance is, like on a percentage scale, or no? I don't know.
You're on the right track. So this is very confusing for a lot of people, okay? Utilization is huge. Let's say I have a credit card. Let's say my credit limit was $1,000, okay? I want to make sure I'm keeping a 30% utilization rate on that credit card. So that means I don't want to have more than $300 balance on that credit card that I'm carrying. Now here's the kicker. I can max out that credit card each month, and I do that, okay? But by the time they go to check my report, I make sure it's paid down to 30%. Carrying a 30% utilization rate will help maintain a good credit score, okay? Sometimes people come to me and they're like, can you help me repair my credit? It's low, it's in the 500s and the 600s. And I look, they have no collections, they have no charge-offs, but they have high credit card balances. Just by paying down your credit card balances, I mean, you will see a 30-point, sometimes 60-point increase just by doing that, okay? If you keep it at a 10% utilization rate, that will really help build your score. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions there?
Yeah. Is it better to keep it at 10% than 0%? You want to keep something on there or no?
You do want to keep something on there. There's a misconception that you got to pay it off each month. You do not have to pay it off each month. You can
Okay.
keep a balance, but just make sure you're making payment, because then it ties into that payment history. They see that you're making payments. Some people will just have a card with no balance on it, which is great to open it. It'll fall into another category, length of how long you've had the account. But again, what's the biggest one? Payment history. So they want to see what? That you're making payments. Does it make sense?
Got it. Okay.
Okay. Now here's the thing. You can have more than one credit card, right? Let's say I had a credit card that has $5,000 limit, have one that has a $1,000 limit, and the one has a $500 limit. I can max out one of my credit cards as long as all 3 combined, I'm still below that 30%. Does that make sense? All right. So the next thing is going to be credit history. How long have you had each account? So this gets a little tricky, okay, because the longer you've had an account on your report is better, okay? So that's why just starting off, a lot of times people don't have credit because they haven't established a credit history. But when you go to apply for new credit, like get a new credit card, it shortens your credit history, okay? Also, people come to me, they have collections on their account, and they want to get them removed because, again, they want their credit history to show favorable to the banks. But let's say this account's been on your report for 6 years. I go to remove it off your report, it's now going to shorten your credit history, which is going to drop your scores. And you freak out, oh, my score dropped, you're fixing my credit, what happened? Well, it's shortening your credit history, but as we get it off your report, it's going to look good to the bank, showing you didn't have a charge off. And as you continue to make payments on other positive accounts, your score will increase. Make sense? Any questions there? All right, we'll kind of fast. So the next one we have is new credit. So this means inquiries. So how often are you getting your credit checked, okay? This is another thing that people get confused on. It's nothing wrong with getting your credit checked, but there's two different ways. It's called a soft pull and a hard pull. By you checking your own credit, it will not affect you. Does that make sense? But if Michael was to go approve you for a mortgage, that's going to be a hard hit on your FICO score, okay? When banks look at this, they want to make sure that you're not going and applying for credit cards all day. So you want to keep your inquiries low. They will stay in your report for 2 years, but they will only affect you for the first year, okay? Now, some people come to me because they say, Lisa, I tried to apply for this car, I got denied, but it's still in my recovery report as an inquiry. Well, if you didn't get approved for that, I can get that removed for you because it shouldn't be in your report. So you guys got to pay attention to those things. Some things you guys applied for, you're not realizing if you're not using it, it's still hitting your credit report, which is still bringing down your score. Okay? Any questions there so far? We good? All right, so the next thing is going to be types of credit. So there's certain things called a thin profile and a thick profile. So the banks want to see that you have a healthy balance. So you want to have a car payment, you want to have maybe 1 to 3 credit cards, have a mortgage. That's a healthy credit profile. Now, somebody can have 20 credit cards and still have an 800 credit score because they can manage it very well. But typically, most people have 1 to 5 credit cards, 1 to 3 credit cards, an auto loan, and a home loan. Okay, it's a good, healthy balance. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're making your payments on time and you're keeping a low utilization rate, it looks good. If you have a thin profile, meaning let's say you have 1 credit card, you have no auto loan, you have no mortgage, you can be denied for credit cards, you can get denied for loans because it looks like you don't have a thick credit profile. So banks look at that as well too. All right, let's see what's next. All right, so going back to Credit Karma. So I tell you guys again, Credit Karma is a great tool, it's free, but it's only looking at your TransUnion credit report. Do you know what that means? So that means it's not showing you your Equifax and your Experian, okay? So if you know where your credit score is at, so if you're looking at Credit Karma and these scores are popping up, you're in the 800s, you're 793, so you know your score, your FICO score is probably going to be pretty good. You'll probably be maybe 60 to 30 points lower than these actual scores, okay? But when you want to start really getting to know your score, you're either going to have it pulled by lender and they're going to tell you what your score is, if they go by your middle FICO score, or you're going to check yourself on annualcreditreport.com. Or if you're actually getting your credit fixed, we use certain websites like Identity IQ, Smart Credit, thank you, Credit Check, Total Check, I had to get the website for that one. But those type of sites that you actually pay for will give you a little bit more accurate score than Credit Karma. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Also, a lot of people don't know this, but if you log into Credit Karma, they'll tell you, oh, you're approved for the credit card, you're approved for this, you're approved for that. Because every time you guys go and apply for something that's a recommendation from Credit Karma, they get paid for it. So, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. All right, so last thing, so what Michael was kind of going over with you guys as far as how much you would be paying for your mortgage and things of that nature, instead of paying rent. People don't really take a look at how much you're paying over the course of 30 years. Most people just want to get a house, but not thinking about the kind of money they're going to spend long term, okay? So this is just a nice little chart. Now these numbers may not be accurate, but I want you guys to kind of get an idea of where your credit score and how it will play and how much you're going to spend over the course of 30 years. So let's say I have a 580 credit score and Danielle, she has an 800 credit score. We go to buy the same house in the community, because you know how the houses look exactly the same. Hers is pink and mine's yellow, right? My cabinets are white, hers is dark cherry. They get the same exact floor plan, the same exact house. But she's going to be paying less than I'll be paying, all because my credit score was lower, right? So that's huge. Okay, so it's not that you can't get a house with a lower credit score, but the higher your score is, the less you're going to be paying over the amount of time. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. That's pretty much all I had. I want to make sure I save enough time for anybody else. Any question that you guys have, just save them toward the end so we can answer those questions. If you guys are kind of not sure where you're at and you're like, I want to get a house, but I know my credit's not where it needs to be, I'm going to be doing a raffle, right?
Yes. Yeah,
So we're going to be doing a raffle, so whoever's entered in, whoever wins it, I'm offering free credit repair. So you're not going to be charged absolutely nothing. Now, if your credit's where you need to be and you're ready to go,
Give it to somebody else.
give it to somebody else. If then you're a friend, I'll help you from start to finish.
Thank you so much.
You can't wait to work with us.
Yeah.
You can
So basically, you meet with us, we have a cup of coffee, we have a conversation, decide how much home you guys can afford, how many bedrooms you want, how many bathrooms, location, and then we get to work. We look for homes for you, we preview homes before you get a chance to see the homes, and then we send you 5 homes. And out of those five homes, we take you on the tour. Out of that 5 homes, most of the time we find your dream home. But after we find your dream home, we put it in offer on your behalf. I don't know what an offer is. An offer is basically we're putting what you want in front of us. We're telling the seller, this is how much you want to pay, and this is what you want. You know, if you need to have repairs or anything done to the home, we put all of that in writing.
Now, when it comes to the offer, what's gonna happen when we do the offer? We're gonna discuss with you, just because somebody's listing a house does not mean that's what they're going to get for that house. So don't let that number scare you. We're gonna do the research on the back end. That's gonna say that house is going for 285. There's no comparables that match it. We're gonna go in what we feel we would get the house for. So one of 3 things are gonna happen with this offer. It's gonna be accepted as presented, pretty bow on it, we're ready to go, life is good, getting all signatures, we're sending it off to Lisa, she's gonna do her part, Michael's gonna do his part with the mortgage. Then we have the one where flat out rejected. Seller's not budging, doesn't like it, rejected, not even communicating with us. We move on to another property. Or they counter back. When they counter back, your realtors are gonna go to bat for you off of everything that you spoke about. We're not gonna make a decision without you, but we're going to advise you on what we feel would get you the home without giving in too much. We're gonna go a lot of back and forth, which is you guys won't even know when we're going back and forth. That's how much we're gonna do it with the other agent. We always say, and Danielle and I just went through this, a verbal offer, until we see it in writing, the counter, it doesn't exist. It's just words.
Yeah.
Send it over in writing, let's meet together. Everybody gets, the negotiations are done, we now are in contract. Once we go in contract, escrow.
Some of that period is actually called the escrow period.
Right.
And basically during that period is when we're going to secure your mortgage.
Mhm.
You're gonna get with your lender, you're gonna make sure you're sending all your paperwork and everything is taken care of. You're gonna have your home inspection, you're going to address anything that you need to have done to that home at this point. That's what that period is. It is a quiet period. It is a period where sometimes you're not hearing from everybody all the time, but we are working. We are working behind the scenes and we're trying to get you this home.
And what's really important to remember, a lot of buyers feel that, and Warren spoke of it, that you don't have to go to the inspection. We're gonna go with you. Your realtor should be going for you or with you. If you're out of town, you can't make it, we should be doing everything on video. We should have you on FaceTime. There should be no excuse why your realtor is not there with you. That's what we are getting paid to do.
Yeah.
To be with you the whole time. If we have to crawl under a crawl space and see something, we'll try our best to fit in that crawl space and do it. We're not climbing a roof though, I'm telling you that much. There ain't no ladders, so don't go let us, right? But that's what we all want you to be there as much as possible. The appraisal, majority of the time, we don't even sometimes know that it's being done as fast as it is. It's like, okay, I have a lockbox, the appraiser's going in, it's getting done. And then we know the value. All these reports are owned by you, so if somebody else asks for them, you don't give them away, except to your realtor, and we'll go back and forth with that. But when the inspection comes back, that's what he said, it's not a deal breaker. And as this property will get you something. If they truly want to sell the house, they're gonna honor our requests that are reasonable. And that's what your realtor is gonna do on your behalf again.
Right.
We get you to the closing date, basically.
Right. And remember, the most important too though, before that closing date, don't skip your walkthrough.
Exactly.
You make sure you do that walkthrough about 24 hours before your closing date to make sure that property is exactly the way you saw it when you went in contract. And if it's, and those repairs that you're inspector stated should have been done, if not re-inspected, you should be looking to make sure those were taken care of also. So electricity should be on, water should be running, and don't let anybody tell you that it can't be, because they can call Duke or FP&L and get a 24-hour, 48-hour window for turn on.
Yes.
And they'll try and tell you it can't be done. As I own investment properties, it can be done. You just have to make that, the other side just has to make that call to accommodate. You, disclosures Michael would provide to you, so you know what you're coming to the table with before the day of closing. So it should be like, my money's wired, all I'm doing is showing up. And the day of closing,
It's your day to celebrate. It's your keys to your home. Understand?
I'm like way behind on the car, putting off the phone. I'm just going, no one told me to click. Okay, so I'm just
your realtor is still with you for your closing. Your closing day is when, that's gonna be the time when from your quiet time, which is your title people are doing their work, your lender's doing their work. We're being called first, the transaction coordinators are talking to you in email, we're touching base with you weekly, if not twice, 3 times a week, just to make sure your nerves are okay. But we're here to take on all your stress. Every piece of your stress is what we get paid for. We get the gray hair and drink gallons of coffee to make sure y'all aren't stressed out.
Yeah, for sure.
No, okay, and the wine when we go home, okay?
Yeah.
Get her bed. But the closing day, we're all gonna be there with you. That's important. For me personally, I love going to the closing table. Not just to make sure your numbers are right.
We also make incredible baskets for our buyers.
No, that's my husband. I am not gonna take credit for baskets. My husband has like a hobby or obsession with making baskets.
He made that whole entire basket.
I don't know. It just, his job is very stressful, and this is like the stress relief.
Yeah.
So he's like the creativity aspect, and it doesn't make a mess. So they should be going to the table. Whether or not your closing is going to take you an hour if you don't read stuff and you just are a skimmer, or it's going to take you 4 hours. I've been in both situations. I'm like, you sure you don't want to read what you just signed? No, I'm good.
When you first close on a home, because title insurance is the only insurance that covers you from the day you close on that property all the way back to the day you bought the land or the home that the land is on, okay? So title, as people buy and sell, and it gets transferred to you. When you sign at closing, you get lender's insurance because the lender's gonna require it, and you get title insurance. The lender's insurance obviously covers the lender because the money that you're borrowing from them, they wanna make sure that if anything goes wrong, they can be paid off.
Right.
So that's our job, and that's our underwriter's job. We have underwriters that buy and insure everything that we write title on, okay? So just on the front page here.
She's passing out packets for you guys right now.
Oh, sorry. It just ensures that when the purchase is closed, the buyer is the owner and has marketable title to the property. You have access to the home. There's no liens, no claims or restrictions, and that's probably the most important. So let's say you buy a house, you get a mortgage, and the realtor calls me up and you guys sign a contract, and it comes to me. I take that legal description, that property, I pull up every bit of information I can find. We do what's called a lien search, and let's say you're the seller. He's owned his house for 20 years. But let's say he and his wife divorced. Let's say she passed. I'm so sorry. All right, she passed. Just think of worse. Think of a good example. Oh my God, this is not being filmed.
She left.
Thank God.
Oh, no, it is.
So, no, it is not. Is it really? Oh God. Okay, so anyhow,
Did she have any money?
she had tons of money. Okay. So you paid off the mortgage. No, what I'm trying to get at
You got a
is-
policy with Armando, so you can pay for a life, so you're good to go.
is everything, when he signed to buy that purchase of that property with his wife, okay? It had her name on it and it had his name on it, okay? When he goes to sell it, I'm going to see the lien that he had, the wife was on the lien, and I need to see now a death certificate. So let's just say he's not married, never has been married. When I go to do a new lien search, I'm going to find out that he was married. He does need to prove that so that we can get the title properly transferred to you. Okay, does that even make sense?
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'm gonna stop you really quick, just chime in if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So we're kind of presenting in the order of how you guys are supposed to do this. Does anybody here never owned a home? People in here are first-time home buyers. Yeah, okay, perfect, awesome. So this is the way in which it happens. You don't first get with a realtor, which most people think. That is like the last person you meet with. You first get with the lender. The lender's gonna do all of the background stuff for you and tell you, okay, our next step is actually gonna be to fix your credit. Then you get with Lisa. After Lisa, this is kind of a little bit backwards, then you would go ahead and meet with the realtor once you're ready to look at homes. But then with me, once we go into contract, like we're going to on Sunday, once we put in an offer, then I contact her. And she's the one that, in the nicest way I can say this, does all the dirty work for you. Like she pulls all the stuff out to tell you, this looks good, this doesn't, we need to fix this, she's all like behind the scenes stuff that you don't need to worry about as a
And it's
homebuyer.
all at the very end, and you will probably mainly never know anything.
Exactly. That's what I want to
mean,
clarify.
truly. It's important, and we're the ones who finally cut the check to
Yeah.
everybody.
She's the most important, hands down.
And we give you the keys. We
Right.
tell the realtor it's okay now to give you
Yeah.
the keys.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about, without owner's title insurance, the legal costs it would be to resolve those title claims could easily be in the tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket. So if somebody does tell you you don't need to own owner's title insurance, it's really not optional. If you have a mortgage, you have to have lender's title policy and you have to have owner's policy. On the second page, I just have some closing terminology, which is good because it's going to talk to you about your credit, what a point is, origination fees and so forth. And I can talk to you all day about mortgages because it's really more fun to me than title, but I love title. But mortgages and points, just buy the rate down. If like if it's supposed to be 6% for the mortgage, if you want 5%, yeah, say 5%. Those points and origination fees are just fluff, so they're really not needed. And you can talk more to your lender about that. So I also put it in Spanish, if that
Oh,
helps.
look at you, thanks, girl.
Right. And then I thought this was a fun story about Lincoln. He lost his home twice. It was really a pretty interesting story, and same with Daniel Boone. And it just kind of goes back to title defects. So that's why it's so important to have clear title. What happens is, let's say you put in a swimming pool, and the contractor comes out and puts a contractor's lien on it because he is now doing an open permit building. He wants to get paid at the end. Well, oftentimes they don't close those out and that permit just sits there even though you paid him. Okay, so there's open permits that can happen. There's tax liens. If you don't pay your taxes, that gets put onto the title. There's also HOA. When you are not paying your HOA dues and so forth, you will end up, by the time you sell that property, having to pay for those. And you have to pay for them before anybody can get a clear title to purchase your property. Make sense? So that's the most important, and those are some things that sometimes it's between the buyer and the seller of, let's say, closing fees and things like that. The good part of buying a home and with title insurance and our closing fees and so forth is that the seller pays for 90% of your fees. The seller is the one who pays the commissions to the realtors, most of your closing costs. So it's not that much for closing fees for a title insurance company, okay? And this was just about, like I said, like Lincoln, he lost two homes, he just kept fighting to different territories, and that's why they came up with title insurance back in like it's in here somewhere, I don't know what it was, but 1876, to protect buyers against the hidden hazards of real estate ownership, forgeries, that's also another commonly seen. Surveys, hidden liens, conveyances by a minor, it could be anything. Misrepresentation of the marriage, like I was kind of trying to explain. If they're single and if they're married. If they're married in the state of Florida, and you go to get a mortgage, we have to have the wife or the other spouse sign.
Don't be want to buy
Just to
houses
acknowledge.
behind your significant other's back, okay? You can't
Yeah.
do it, it's not allowed.
So, those are just some of the reasons why or how you can lose your whole home and the reasons for title insurance. And then lastly, I just have this, which explains, what title insurance is. It has, typical seller expenses, and then you've got typical buyer expenses.
Oh, perfect. That's-
And this is, the amount of coverage, so if you had a $60,000 mortgage, this is how much, of a charge you would pay. So depending on the loan amount, those are the amounts you're looking at. I work out of Winter Springs, but, I really service the 5 county areas. I do closings at your home, Steak and Shake, Panera.
Steak and Shake.
It really doesn't matter, so, I travel
I love it.
everywhere. If you need me, I hope I can help you, and my phone number's on here, okay?
Thank you
And
so much.
thank you.
All right, guys, really quickly before I bring up our inspector, we are kind of short on time. Did everybody get a message? Log into your messenger right now, see if you got your number. Don't tell anybody what it is, just see if you got it.
You need to make sure that your phone number is inside the chat in order to enter.
Yes.
So if you started the chat and it asks you for your number and you haven't put your number yet and or email, it won't pick you up in the raffle.
Yes. Raise your hand if you did not get a number. You didn't get a number? You didn't get a number? Anybody? Michael? We got 3 people that didn't get a number. Hand up.
Erica?
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 Aaron.
Sorry, Aaron.
Aaron? Say it again. Dom.
Dom, did you just register?
Maybe like,
It should go through Messenger. Ask you for your phone number, email.
Yeah, I did all that.
They did all that? Okay, good.
all right, we'll get you set up. Okay, next up we have our inspector, Warren. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm from New Hampshire, even though I don't have an accent anymore. I was a builder for 35 years there, and simultaneously I was a firefighter for 27 years of that.
Wow.
I moved to Florida 6 years ago with my bride and my daughter, and haven't looked back, and I don't miss the cold one day. I'm still a builder today. I build floating homes on barges, it's a little different, but so I'm still involved in the industry. Let me explain to you what the home inspection process is like, and by virtue of doing that, whether you choose me or you're questioning another inspector when you need an inspection, it'll give you an idea of some of the questions to ask them. There are different types of inspections. I encourage people buying a brand new house to get an inspection. I was a builder, and builders, subcontractors can make mistakes just like anybody else can.
Right.
And I've seen some horrific new houses that were terribly built. So I would encourage you, whether it's new or old, to get an inspection. When I do an inspection on a new home, about 10 months after that, your warranty is going to be nearly up. It's usually a 1-year warranty with homes. Mine were 5, but anyways. So if you notify me within that 10-month period, and I'll schedule it so that I'm in the area, I don't charge to come back and do the warranty inspection. And that's something that every inspector, I think, should do. Now, if you call me up on the 11th hour, the 11th day, at the end of the first year, and say, I gotta have you tomorrow morning, I'm gonna charge you for my time to go and do it. The other thing that you should ask an inspector, I include them for free with every inspection, is something called a wind mitigation inspection. And that looks at how the roof structure is attached to the sidewalls, the age of the roof, the frequency of the nailing, blah, blah, blah. It gives you a much, much lower rate of your insurance on your property insurance, on the wind portion of your property insurance. It's a big deal. Everybody in Florida should have one. It's a state law. They have to give you the discount.
Yeah.
The other type of inspection is something called a 4-point insurance inspection. It looks at the air conditioning, the roof, the electrical, and the plumbing. Those are required in houses that are older than 30 years old in the state of Florida. Sometimes an insurance company, if the house is 20 years old, will ask for one. All right? If I do a home inspection for you and I know the house is that age, I do the 4-point inspection as well. I don't charge you for that. I say all of this because my rates are relatively low for my home inspections. They're $300 to $400. I base it strictly on the square footage of the house. I don't care if your house is in Windermere or if it's in Deltona. It matters not to me. It's the number of bathrooms, the square footage. That's how I calculate it. I can't say the same for every inspection company that does that.
Right.
The one thing you're going to find when querying other inspectors is there is, and I refer to them all as males because most of them are men, there's no shortage of the male ego in the inspection industry. Fortunately, my mother had mine removed at birth, so I don't suffer.
Oh my God.
But a lot of inspectors are gonna walk you through the house and they're gonna try and show you how important and how smart they are, right? They do it for a couple of reasons. One, because they want to puff themselves up. The other thing is, they'll take something very small and very minor, and they will blow it out of proportion.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. If your kitchen sink is missing a GFCI outlet next to it, the test and reset outlet, right? In your report, it'll be in red, it'll be under safety, it'll look like a big deal. They're $17 and a trained monkey can install it. But inspectors will pick out all these things, have them under safety, they'll kill the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are deal killers and there are deal makers. I'm neither. It is what it is with me.
Right.
But if the buyer is there, and I encourage you to always attend the inspection. I would also, except Paula,
5 minutes, except for me.
some new home builders won't allow the realtor to be there. That's why I was picking on her. But I would always encourage you to be at the inspection. And if the inspector says,
so that you can understand it and then start putting away stuff. I'm gonna skip around here, and if we can go up to the 2 lines, like on page 3 or 4.
I got you.
Cool. So, this is how life works, right? This is how life works. The biggest problem that you guys are facing today, right? If you're looking to build wealth, how many would like to be wealthy someday? Okay, cool. All right, I'm sorry, good. How many would like to leave a legacy to like your kids and your grandkids and stuff like that, right? All right, cool. So we have a conversation to talk about, right? 2 biggest things that face you right now is this. Problem number 1, you can die too soon, right? All of us have big hopes and dreams and goals, and you're gonna buy a house, and sometimes it's a husband and wife, or couples that buy a house, right? And we get into this, and this is our dream, right? And realtors, professional mortgage people, right? Home inspection people, you guys work, to get your people into their dream house. But what happens if they die a year later, right? So last year, in August, when I first got to Florida, I met with a couple down in Lakeland, right? Awesome couple. She was a realtor. He was a Walmart supervisor or whatever. They have bought a house, 3 kids, super awesome, super excited. I sat there, did the financial analysis, put together a life insurance program. September of 19, a year later, she gets killed in a car accident, right? I bring to the house a $500,000 check. We're paying off the house, the kids are going to college. That's huge. That's life changing, right? Because they put it in a policy. Guess how much their policy was? $118 a month. For $118 a month, I was able to deliver a $500,000 check when it was important, when it mattered. We paid off the house. Kids are going to college. Spouse can take off a couple of months to get his head right. You know what I'm saying? Like what we do is important, right? And most people walk around thinking that life insurance is super expensive and they can afford it and they don't have it, right? And then happens what happened to me. I was 12 years old when my dad died. We lived in an awesome house. Anybody from Miami? All right, I lived in Pinecrest, right? I lived in a nice house, huge yard, and all this great stuff, right? My dad died, and we ended up moving to Wynwood. Not the Wynwood that people know today. It was a neighborhood that you drive by 95 miles per hour with your windows up with a crackhead on every corner, right? That was my reality because my father didn't plan, and he didn't plan because nobody like me, there was no professional that came and had a conversation with him, right? He wasn't a bad guy. He just didn't know, right? But today, you guys are getting to understand this, right? And Maya Angelou said it best. She says, when you know better, you do better, right? So, problem number 1 that I help families with is life insurance, right? That is our bread and butter core product, right? But problem number 2 is even more important. And actually, the problem number 2 is the one that I hope for. I hope that you outlive your problems. That you get to a point where you can get financially free. Now, most of you guys have never heard of this before. Nobody's ever talked to you about becoming financially free, right? Most of us have a plan, right? Or don't have a plan. But if you don't have a plan, that's why you see 70, 80, 90-year-old people working at Walmart and McDonald's. And I don't want that for you guys, right? I don't want that for you guys. And I don't want that for your kids, or I don't want that for your friends and your family members, right? That's why I want to sit down with each family one family at a time. Is it time consuming? Yes, right? But I sit down and I take my time to help you understand where you're at today and where you're at in the future, right? Where can you be in the future? So, Die too soon or live too long. That's the problem. That's the second problem, right? Because some people live too long, right? They do. They outlive their money. They outlive their money, right? They outlive their money, right? So I help put a financial plan together to make sure you don't outlive your money. Guys, buying a house is one of the biggest things that you can do for yourself as far as wealth building is concerned.
Yeah.
Okay, that's like number one. Why? Because that asset is going to get paid off by your natural state of being, right? You're paying a rent mortgage right now. If you're renting, you're paying $1,500, $2,000, whatever. You're putting that money into somebody's pocket right now. Becoming a homeowner, you start putting that money into your pocket.
Right.
Becoming a homeowner helps you grow an asset that, without you doing anything, the market's going to do this. It's going to go up and down. It is probably going to go down, but it'll come back up, right? Saint talked about that in 2008. People are like, oh, you know, if I would have gotten the market in 2008, I would have lost. No, you wouldn't. If you got in the market in 2008 and you bought it at the top of the market and you lost your tail, I can't say the other words, right? But you lost everything because that market went crashed, but you stayed in the house and instead kept making payments. That house today is worth 20, 30, 40% more than what it was in 2008. That's the reality. People don't talk about the news, ain't gonna talk about that, right? But that's the reality, right? So buying a house, we're going to save questions to the end. Write it down, Lou.
It wasn't a question, it was a statement.
Okay.
They had a report on the news last night that 2018 experienced a 13% growth in home buying and home building.
Right. Good. That's it. So definitely get yourself a house, right? Because that's going to be part of your wealth portfolio. We're going to help you with that, right? Real quick, I'm going to go to the 27-year-old, 25-year-old. Right. Okay. Yeah. So this is part of our program that we're going to help you with. How many people here in their 20s? All right, cool.
2 months shy. 2 months.
Well, those of you guys who are over 30, you're going to get upset in a couple of seconds here, but this is
Yeah, first of all, you want to be in your 20s for this presentation, right?
Yeah. So this is an average customer, right? And we talk to people about paying themselves first. Buying a house is paying yourself first, right? Because everybody's making a payment every month, right? But here's additional money that's going to different places. If you started when you were 25 years old to save $200 a month, if you started when you were 25 years old, save $200, and you show up there, they're like, security? Right? I promise I won't call security. But guys, there's an important conversation happening here today, right? And it's about wealth building. I don't know if you got that throughout the whole thing, but let me be blunt with it. It's about wealth building. What Lisa's talking about, getting your credit right, what everybody else is talking about, getting that property, right? It's about wealth building. It's about putting yourself in a position, putting yourself in a position where money works for you.
Right.
Where money works for you. So if you don't have my card, let me make sure everybody gets a card. Okay. If you don't have a card, make sure you get a card. Give me a call and set up an appointment because again, a couple of things. Everybody needs this conversation, right? So as a client, again, as I started from the beginning, as a client, you need to have a conversation with me. Even if you can only start with $25 a month, that's fine, right? Even if you just put a small insurance policy in place to make sure the kids are not. Who has kids here? Who has kids? Kids. Okay, cool. Who wants to have kids? Cool. Right? But watch this. If you have kids or if you have people that you love, right, and you want to make sure that they're okay, whether you're here or not, right, the ultimate love letter is life insurance. That's an ultimate love letter, right? That could be to your kids, it could be to your significant other, it could be to whoever you want, right? Boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, does not at the same time. Maybe. Well, who else wants to So these are all the things, again, I'm not going to go into detail today because I'm offering you a free in-home consultation, again, about $2,500, right? I'll go into your house, sit down with you, be patient, explain the stuff that we do, but roughly, everything that you see here are things that we need to talk about. We need to talk about life insurance. We need to talk about retirement or some kind of savings for the future. We need to talk about your money making money, right? Your money making money. Legal insurance, right? How many people have a lawyer or retainer, right? I used to have a big firm down in Miami. And we used to cut a check at the beginning of the year, $50,000. That was our retainer, right? Just to have a lawyer, so in case anything happens, they can just call a law firm and take care of our problems, right? Most Main Street Americans, we don't have that. We don't have that. We've never been privy to that. But you still got problems, right? You still got neighbors that the dog barks at 3 o'clock in the morning. Maybe your dog is barking at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? You may have a car accident, maybe have tickets, whatever. Legal insurance takes care of you on that. We also do home insurance and auto insurance. Again, number one, looking to help you so you can become a client. Number two, I'm looking to expand my agency. Everything on this form here, I can help you. We actually have a special running this weekend until Sunday night. If you want to get involved with us, for $49, we'll pay. That's all you do. You pay for a background check, $49. We'll pay for your 214 license so you can sell life insurance. We'll also pay for your Series 6 and your Series 26 so you can sell the investment side and everything on this thing. So you can sell all of this stuff and make money. But watch this. You can also get licensed, get on our team, and just refer me business, and we'll split the sale. Either way, you can make between $1,000 and $2,500 on a monthly basis. Either you doing the work or just referring the work, and that can help pay a lot of mortgage payments. Am I right or right?
Yes. Correct.
All right. So you got my card. You guys got my information.
Lisa, you're doing something for raffle, right?
Yes,
right now. Okay, one more time.
Credit repair. Okay, so if you don't need it because your credit is like in the 800s and you're good to go, all jokes aside, if you know somebody who may need it, I'll help them out.
Now we're looking at the home, the back, okay? All right, so now I think you guys are open up for Q&A, right? All right.
Any
So
questions about anything you've seen? This is like your fire met, anyone that you just spoke.
Anybody.
Yeah, I cut it early so we could do 10 minutes of Q&A, so here's your chance. Any questions you had thus far from any of the speakers? Go ahead.
I have a question for you. The FICO score that you get when you like log into your bank account, it says check your FICO score. Is that one?
Yeah, that's not your FICO score. So your FICO score, you want to go to annualcreditreport.com or have it pulled.
Is that free?
Huh?
Is that free?
Annualcreditreport.com is free to do it once a month. Once a year. Yep. And it'll give you all 3 bureaus. Yep. What bank do you use? If you don't mind?
I bill Wells Fargo now, it's got Chase.
Okay, so yeah, for example, I have a Discover card, right? So Discover told me to log in this morning, check your FICO score, right? So it says your FICO score is 720, but if you read the fine print, it will tell you, it'll give more explanation. It's not your true FICO score, it's like a representation of it. There's so many different models, you guys. It's so confusing. So when I say there's a lot of different models, there's a lot of different scoring models. So it's hard to pinpoint one another. But all I can tell you is that to get your true FICO score, you want to have it checked by either a lender, apply for a credit card, you go apply for a car, they'll give you your FICO score. And you can always ask for a report of anybody who checks your credit, or go to annualcreditreport.com. Any other questions? That would be kind.
Like I said, sellers usually pay the bulk of it, depends on the size of the mortgage. I would say for a buyer, I would pay about 5%. Tops. And, definitely different appraisal. My only advice at all of this is to, when you do find that home, you found your realtor, and you partner with them, you sell them everything. Because every little thing will come out. They use them and their brains and their relationships with other people to make it a smooth transaction. Like if you have, a sister-in-law who does title, use who they're telling you to.
Yeah.
They're builders, they're inspectors. Everyone that they have a relationship with, and let's say it's not me, but they have a title program, because when the communication is there, it's the greatest, easiest process, and you don't have anybody questioning that person's, what they're doing. They're really sure, because if there's so many communication mess ups and, breakdowns.
And it's hard because you're dealing with so many different parts. So we're not communicating well.
Yeah.
We get frustrated. You guys get frustrated with us. The realtor takes all the heat.
Yeah.
Right? They're in the back and we're the ones that are dealing with you. So if it's a good experience, you'll love us and you refer.
Right.
If it's a bad experience, you're not gonna love it. And sometimes it's not even our fault. It's just the way it crumbles, right?
We have a closing
build that
clause.
relationship.
Yeah, we have a closing clause. That's a conversation too, that you bring that up to your lender too, like,
And
can I tie my closing clause
Yes.
to my mortgage? And you ask your realtor, is the seller willing to entertain paying closing costs? That's kind of everything that we would
Everything's negotiable.
Yeah, I would say everything's negotiable in real estate,
I have a 3-year-old.
and what worst case scenario, you get a no. But if you don't ask, you never know. Always ask.
Even for this one.
Monday
Now
through
that
Friday.
costs, like right here, it says customary buyer expenses, but if you just completely out of the way, you could get caught out on it, and get just.
No, Michael,
Yeah, everything's disclosed, you're
Oh,
gonna get
yes.
a sheet, you're
I
gonna
think
see
this
it.
is the part
Everything's
that's
disclosed, but certain things that can be hidden is when they go to the title insurance, if there's any liens on the property. Then at that point, as a buyer, you have to say, do I wanna pay that, or do I wanna forfeit and just look for another property? So she's title's very, very important, because they're not gonna disclose that there's being dealing on the property. And unfortunately, you don't wanna purchase a house dealing on the property, because you're gonna have to pay that.
And you're gonna, get a loan estimate from your lender. They have, what is it, 3 days to get you your loan estimate, first loan
He's
estimate?
coming, he's coming.
3 days. Your original loan estimate is 3 days from now?
I can't do
Uh,
When do you get the
So
loan
the,
estimate?
the compliance answer, you get what's called an LE, it's a loan estimate, you're gonna receive that 3 days after your application. So there's 6 components that equal an application, that's the close date, your income, your social, your phone number, and an address of the property, and there's one more I'm probably missing. But any one of those components that are triggered on an application, a financial institution has to send you disclosures. This is where it's confusing, where most people are getting pre-approved, or like, hey, where are my disclosures? You're not getting that during a pre-approval process. During the pre-approval process, you're gonna get a very rough number, but it should be on the higher side. Anyone that's lowballing you, I'd be very nervous. So the best answer that I always tell my clients is, from a cost association, not down payment is separate, tell them prepare to pay at least 3% of whatever that purchase price is. If you're buying a house that's $200 grand, expect to pay $6,000 in closing costs. I'm not here to tell you that you are going to pay $6,000 in closing costs. I'm here to prepare you that in the event that a seller says, no, I'm not paying any closing costs, because the seller doesn't have to pay that. And what scenario would you be where a seller doesn't pay it? You're buying a foreclosed property or a short sale property. That seller is a bank. They're already taking a loss on that property. So you should expect to pay all the closing costs. Does this make sense? Going to the loan estimate. When you receive a loan estimate, that loan estimate is exactly that. It's just an estimation. There can be additional things that are going to be tacked on there that you'll see at closing that are outside of the lender's control. And what I mean by that is if you buy a home that's inside of an HOA, well, most HOAs have dues that are due when you move into the property. We as lenders, we have no idea what those are going to be. If you pay for a home warranty, right, and there's some great home warranty companies out there, your awesome agents will tell you more about home warranties.
Your awesome agents will also get the seller to buy the home warranty for you, but anyway.
Yes.
For whatever reason, you're going to see a home warranty on there. So this is the only time, I had a closing just yesterday, and give a point case. He had to bring $10,102 to closing when we initially ran all the numbers. By the time we got to the closing estimate, his numbers were about $500 higher. And he's like, well, why are my numbers higher? I was like, well, there's a $470 warranty, a home warranty that none of us knew about, and there's a $395 HOA fee that none of us would know about. So it's just being better prepared for that. I can tell you from a lender perspective, you will never be spot on the penny when it comes to how much cash you need to close. Always go higher. Every single one of my clients that I work with, anytime they come to closing, they come to closing with less money than what they anticipated. I intentionally design all my loans that way. So, yeah, so in the event that something were to happen, maybe a seller doesn't pay something, maybe there's additional cost that's on there, you guys are already prepared. Nobody has to like scramble. Thank you. Yeah, she's like, where am I going to get it from? What family member am I going to call to do X, Y, and Z? So, closing disclosures, that's going to be your final one. That one is super important. That has to come legally 3 days before closing, at minimum. And it has to be acknowledged by you as a buyer 3 days before closing. So what does that mean? Meaning if you received it on a Friday and you didn't view it until Sunday, well, that viewing doesn't start until Monday. Sundays do not count. So if you were supposed to close on Tuesday, you won't be closing until Thursday. So that's super important when it comes to closing disclosures. Two major important items: loan estimates, closing disclosures. And I don't want to take too much time on that, but on the loan estimate, every single financial institution, from a legal perspective, they have to provide you what's called a COC through the process. COC stands for change of circumstance. If your cost, your percentage, or anything changes by $100 or 0.1% higher or lower, they must redisclose you. So an example of that would be once you start with a lender, and you guys probably know this, anytime you start with a lender, you're not locked. Your rate is floating. So, hey, I'm pre-approved, I got pre-approved 60 days ago, now I'm finally under contract, check the rate. The rate could be different, okay? So understand that even when you receive loan estimates, you're still not locked. You're not locked until they actually send you what's called a lock confirmation. That lock confirmation is part of a COC. If there's any buy downs for that rate, if it changes your monthly payment in any way up or down, that's a good thing. So none of you guys, and I say you as buyers, can ever show up to a closing table going, I didn't know that was there. There's too many things in place that we literally cannot go to closing without you acknowledging it. And loan estimates are broken down to a third grader's reading level. So my point being is it's very comprehensive. That's what I'm getting. It's not confusing like it used to be. Like, oh my God. The only reason why it's going to be that way, guys, it's because of anxiety, right? Anytime you're purchasing something new, it's a change. The mind fears change, things of the unknown. So my point being is, when your anxiety goes up, just reach out to your lender. Take 20 minutes. Even if you gotta ask the same questions several times over, I get that a lot. I get people call me, hey, what is this number? I explain to them, and then I wait by my phone.
And a really good lender.
And they're calling me right back. Like, hey, what was that? I'm like,
But your really good lenders are gonna keep your realtors in the loop too, so we're not just as surprised as
Yeah.
you are if something's coming up or.
Yeah, the protocol should usually be lender finds out the information, calls the agent, so the agent is made aware of what's going on, then calls the buyer, and then usually the buyer is going to contact an agent like, hey, did you hear what's happening? And the agent will be like, yes, I knew what's going on.
We shouldn't be surprised.
No surprises. I don't like them, not even for my birthday.
Anybody else?
Any other
Any
questions?
other
Ask away.
questions while we're here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between buying a new home versus like already built, like lived in a home?
There you go.
Yeah. So new construction, how many of you guys want to know about new construction? Right? Home, purchasing home and a mortgage? Okay. So new construction homes are amazing. I'll tell you firsthand, my home is a new construction home. I've had it for 5 years and it still smells like a new construction home. That's one of the parts that I love. The second part that I didn't love is I am a lender. I can write my own loans, literally, but they wouldn't allow me to do so. A builder is a seller, right? They control the price of that home. You have to keep that in the back of your mind. So if I'm the seller, and you're a buyer, do you want me in control of your finances? Do any of you want your seller in control of your finances? And that's exactly what you do when you work with a new builder. They are in complete control of your finances because they're going to give you a $10,000, $5,000 incentive for using their preferred lender. Quick disclaimer, that money does not come from a lender. It does not come from a lender. And in fact, it doesn't even come from a builder. They're setting the price. The house is worth 200 grand. They can say, yeah, we'll sell it to you for 210 and give you 10 back. They're still making their nut as far as number. So you got to keep that in mind as far as, when you're buying something, is there going to be appreciation in there? Am I buying a home and getting a higher rate because of this? Like, there's different components. Legally, you don't have to use their lender. It's redlining and steering if they do. So if you talk to a sales consultant at a new build, chances are they may or may not be licensed. My point being is they don't do general real estate, so their incentive is tied to the builder. It's not to help you. It generally isn't. They want to make a sale. And I get it, it's business, but you got to keep in mind if they're telling you, hey, you got to use my lender, you really want those incentives, you got to keep in back of your mind like, I can still get those incentives, but I can use the lender of my choice, and I know that they are representing me, not a builder trying to represent me just to buy this house. Does that make sense?
And to piggyback on that, we're probably going to say the same exact
Probably,
thing.
yeah. Go ahead.
Always bring your realtor.
Yeah.
First time you walk into a new building, do not walk in without them.
If you go without us to a new
We
building,
can't
you're driving
represent
by on a Sunday, and you don't call me ahead of time and say, hey, I really want to go see this, I can no longer represent you. They're not going to let me.
If you guys put the realtor's name down, they can still
So
represent you.
now they want you there.
But now you have to.
Yeah.
Now you have to be there.
For some people, it just depends. She's right. Some
I used to
people-
work for Kibbe Homes,
Yeah.
I used to work for new construction.
Some are really nice, and some are like, absolutely.
As long as we
Yeah.
put their name down, we would accept that, but if not.
And the only reason that you would want to do that, number one, is if you have a relationship with us, but number two, so we can protect you. Because they're never going to give you the other option, and we will give you both on the table to choose from. You might be
You
your
have that
thing.
right to shop
I
for
had
the
a,
best deal, and they say we can't negotiate a builder's contract. We might not be on the front end, but believe me from experience, right before closing, when everybody's ready to throw in the hand,
Just
all
make
of
sure
a
you buy
sudden,
it. That's all.
all the negotiations come out, not in the beginning, but in the end, and you're pretty much getting everything you want in the beginning and
Right.
right? So we've had that full
Yeah,
happen
for sure.
for deals for us.
A lot of it's connected to the relationship between the builder and the realtor.
For sure.
So if your realtor has a great relationship with the builder, chances are they can use an outside lender and they'll still get the incentives.
Yeah.
But if they don't know that realtor or anything like that, then it's going to be a little bit of a tough fight. I had a client, first-time home buyers, they're looking to purchase, they went and saw some inventory homes, and then the realtor, newer agent, just so happened to show them some new construction, and then all of a sudden, hey, I think I'm gonna start going for new construction, I'm gonna use their in-house lender. I was like, whoa, how did we get there? And when I had the conversation, literally they were telling me like, well, I can't buy this house if I don't use their lender. That is, for them to make that statement or at least influence you, that is illegal. You have to understand that.
Yes.
It's legally not even compliant. It's literally them putting you inside of a box saying you can't go anywhere else.
By the way, this is not me, don't go to construction, we're not talking about it, I love new construction, just make sure that you're informed of all sides of it, okay? And so that, they're doing their job is to sell, we're gonna sell you, you know what I mean? So just contact the agent so we can.
Yeah, highly recommend, anytime you go to a new build, bring your agent.
Remember, a big other misconception a lot of people have, we don't cost you anything. To hire a realtor on the buy side is free.
We are
literally cost you
free.
nothing, the seller pays us.
For you.
Yeah, so we are working for you, and yeah, most of us work weekends, all of us work weekends. So Nicole, I was her realtor in her representation the last year, so she can attest to that, so working for you guys, to represent you, for free.
And we answer texts until we go to sleep, right?
Especially me.
You guys have any questions about programs that are mortgage related, or assistance programs?
Anything else that we got?
Anything closing costs related, credit score for programs related, anything you guys have questions about?
We have all our information too.
Money, where it should be, ready for your house, in the bank.
Inside Messenger, there is a option for an affordability report. I can customize that for each and every one of you guys. I do not need to pull credit to do that. I just need to have an idea as far as what kind of debts you have. So we'll have a one-on-one conversation, whether it be here or on Messenger. It's kind of one of the reasons why I designed it that way, so you guys can leave here, still go about your day, but say, oh yeah, I wanted to kind of get an idea of how much I can actually afford. That colorful graph that I put up there, you'll receive one that's customized to you.
Right. So just to summarize everything, these are the people that you talk to first. Doesn't matter which order, probably go here and then go here. We are literally last on the spectrum. We're the fun part, guys. You're supposed to come to us. We're the fun part. Don't bet. I'll let that. No, I'm just kidding.
You're the serious part, we're the ones that like.
I'm like, let's go see this. Let's go see that. It'll be fun. They're
We're the one that's,
yeah.
helping you decorate this.
Yes. I'm gonna do this very last. You got one more thing?
Before she does a round I just want you guys to just really be proud of yourselves, taking a step to come here and just
Yes.
learn.
For sure.
Okay, because that means you guys are in that right mind frame, right? And I'm so big on manifestation. So if you think that you can own a home, you can do it, you will. So just give yourself a round of applause.
All right, let's do this last giveaway for our big basket over here. It's, what do you call it, an Italian basket?
I know, it's Italian base.
Italian base. Hopefully 5. We'll make it number 5. That would be cool, right? 5. 87. That's all the 80s. 64. 69.
How's the band away?
42. Anybody 42? 97. Oh, no, you can. Oh, no, let's do another one.
You want to get?
86. No, we're 95. Just shout it out when you got it, guys. 51.
Oh,
33. What's your number?
we already had it.
Oh, man. 79. 89. What's up with the freaking 80s? 44.
We're gonna work out for the day.
Girl, you got 78.
Yep.
Alright guys, Michael gave you guys swag bags. Hopefully everyone got one of those one short for Jenny when the basket. How crazy, that's amazing. There are sunglasses and USB chargers and layers there.